Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of the Lookout Podcast. I'm joined by George Cross and his daughter Carla Cross, and we are at the 85th Smoke Jumper reunion, and I'm so honored to have you. What year did you rookie, George?
What year did I jump?
Yeah, smoke jumping years.
Let me look it up here.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. I started in 74 and quit in 83.
Oh, 83. Geez, that was a good run.
Yeah.
I think it was 86, actually.
No,
it's 86.
That's a 3, is it?
86?
It's a 6.
Oh, it's a 6, huh?
Oh, that's the year I was born. So great year.
Oh, Lordy.
Yeah. So we got that in common there. Man, and then you, did I hear right? Did you serve in World War II?
I served in World War II. I parachuted into St. Mary Église in Normandy
Oh, man.
the night before the invasion. Actually, we jumped on the 5th. The invasion was on the 6th.
Oh, wow.
And the reason we jumped on the 5th is because the Pathfinders had to lay out their signals so the airplanes knew where to come in, so forth. And the gliders had a court too. So they were, once they crossed the channel, they turned the gliders loose, and they went one direction and the planes went the other.
Oh, wow, really?
So,
Jeez. And those gliders they got no motors, so they're going to end up where they're going to end up, right? So you got to make sure you get them to a good spot.
I'll tell you, I felt sorry for the gliders because they were getting picked off just terrible.
And,
You know, and they blow a wing off, and there's no escape out of a glider if you're riding in it. Once they blow a wing off, you're straight down.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Dang.
So I really felt sorry for those guys, but they're tough as nails.
I bet.
Yeah.
Man. And then, so you did airborne training then before World War II? Or, like, when did your airborne training start, I guess?
Oh, it started right away before.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, well, we were always doing some kind of training,
Yeah.
you know. And so then when the war came along, training speeds up.
Yeah.
You know, you get a new advisor almost every day.
Oh.
Uh,
So,
because the warrior's in a different area all the time.
oh,
you know?
yeah.
So, and the general that's advising you, or the first or second lieutenant, or whoever it was in a different area.
Yeah.
And they were in an area in which you were going to be fighting eventually.
Oh, yeah.
So, you knew a little bit about it, you know, I mean, where you were.
Oh.
We started out there at St. Mary Église and went all the way around to, golly, now I can't think of the name of this country.
Belgium.
Belgium.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the country ahead of it, Iraq,
Oh.
and then
Netherrock. Do you remember what it was, Carla?
I can't.
she knows more about it than I
Can't
do.
think of it right away. He always forgets that one.
Yeah, two brands are better than one, though, you know.
Yeah. So
Dang. So, were you in the military before World War II, or did you join up because of the war?
no, I joined up before.
Oh, gotcha.
I took my basic training down to Camp Livingston, Louisiana.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then from there,
Wait,
I was in high school
oh,
when a paratrooper came up to our school just after Japan had bombed Pearl Harbor,
oh,
you know, and so he asked our teacher if he could make a speech, and she said, of course. She said, I'm only going to ask one question. And so when he came in, he said, how many of you fellows would like to be paratroopers if you have to go to war? 2 of us raised our hand.
oh, wow.
Yeah, that was all.
That was it.
And so I went 2 weeks before I was to go, and my buddy was supposed to go. His father went berserk one night
Oh,
and borrowed a shotgun from the next door neighbor, came back to the house, and blew him away, and then killed his wife and killed himself.
Whoa.
So to this day, nobody knows why. There's no excuse.
Yeah, it's
you
awful.
know, except you think about it, they were Jewish,
Oh.
and so there may have been some afterthought with him, because Hitler was hauling off all the Jews to concentration camps and death camps, and so he may have thought, well, that's where Donovan might get caught,
Oh.
and become one of those troops. And if he's going to die, he wants him to die in America, I guess.
Could be, yeah. You never
You
know.
know.
Stressful times, So,
Yeah,
I mean, the whole world, at siege, and man.
right. And he was a real buddy of mine. I named my son after him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man, that's unfortunate. I'm sorry to hear that,
So-
George. And that was in 1941 then?
That was in 1941.
Man. Yeah, I couldn't imagine. I imagine everyone in the U.S. was just restless with worry about everything going on overseas. And
I know. You don't think about it, until I send somebody at school, and could I spend a half hour here, or could I spend 15 minutes or something, because they were looking for soldiers.
yeah.
He said, "No, I don't want to let you women off the hook or anything, because you'll probably be interviewed also." So,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Dang.
oh, yeah.
Man, yeah, that's where the nation really came together. All the men going overseas, and then all the women helping out with all the other duties.
Right.
The Rosie Riveter thing is still people are still honoring that. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Right. But the women, most of them were young people, and so they went in as nurses
Oh yeah,
or something in that aspect.
yeah.
So there were lots of them.
Yeah, and just as tough as anybody, one of my friends who was on this podcast, Reen Eustace, is friends with a gal who was in Hawaii in Pearl Harbor when Pearl Harbor got bombed, and she was a nurse in the military, and she got blown out of her bed, and then just got up, got her clothes on, and went to work, and I think she worked for 3 days straight or something
Wow.
crazy,
Yeah.
just because there were so many wounded, and they just kept coming in, and she just kept going, and just like a machine. It's amazing what the human spirit can do, and especially
Yeah.
like
Well, you'd be surprised how happy a lot of those girls were. Oh boy, we get to go somewhere also.
yeah, I bet.
You
Yeah,
know.
get to help out too, right?
To help out. And so they ended up as nurses or helpers in the hospital or
Yeah,
somewhere like that,
yeah, absolutely.
But
So you went high school to Louisiana and then straight overseas?
we went to the hospital, and I went to Camp Livingston, Louisiana.
Oh,
It was supposed to be 18 weeks of training, and if you pass this, and this, we'll look at you for a paratroopers.
Oh.
Otherwise, we won't even think of it.
oh.
know.
So pressure was on a little bit then, George?
Oh yeah. Well, I was a gymnast, and so I had no problem whatsoever,
Oh, you're already super strong then if you're a gymnast. Yeah.
and so forth. But anyway, after 8 weeks, the paratrooper came, picked 50 of us out, and we went up to the railroad station because we were going to go to Fort Benning, Georgia. And so he said, "Well, we'll eat first. So throw your bag in the ditch there
Yeah.
alongside the tracks. And so we'll go up and have supper. And after supper, we'll head for Fort Benning,
Yeah.
Georgia, where training goes for airborne." Well, we went out and had supper. And after supper, we went back down to where our barracks bags were. And he said, "Put your barracks bag on your shoulder, about face, double time march." And the deuce of the house were about a half a mile away. So you had to run all that way up there with your bag on your shoulder.
Oh.
If you didn't make it, it's back to Georgia or Fort Benning or Camp Livingston where you started, because he just wiped half of them out.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And
Man.
the rest of us went on to Fort Benning and started training. The very next morning, you started training just like you did with the smoke jumpers,
Yeah. Straight to business.
go down to the training unit, and they start in.
Oh, really? Really? Was it really similar to the same units that jumpers do then? Smoke
Right.
jumpers? Yeah.
Yeah, you're in training there for about 6 months. You know,
Yeah.
anything and everything seems like,
Jeez.
and most of it was a distance.
Oh,
You
really?
travel distance because that's what you do. You make a parachute jump, and then from then on, everything is you're walking
Yeah.
everywhere.
So a lot of like map and compass work then?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so I thought to myself, this is really something.
Yeah, so I've always liked that orienteering part.
Yeah.
Like in I was in Boy Scouts, so not nearly close to what you experienced, but I always enjoyed the orienteering part of that. Be
Yeah.
able to do some land navigation. So you had to put on probably a ton of miles then after you parachuted in.
All right.
Man, do you know how many? Could you take a guess at like how many miles?
Well,
probably?
what I had liked is that you go along, and we started jumping out of those DC-3s
Oh yeah.
almost immediately,
Yes.
and you had a short walk. And you had to know how to take care of your parachute and all that. Well, after the war started, you got involved with the war, and you made a parachute jump. That parachute stayed there. You just hit it.
Oh really?
Yeah, you didn't pick it up and haul it away
Yeah.
because they were white,
Oh.
and that would give you away,
Yeah.
So, no, just leave that parachute buried away.
Yeah. Good call.
Don't
Man.
need it because you're not going to be fighting with the parachute. You're going to be fighting with the Germans.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
forth.
Yeah. You don't need that anymore.
And you don't want something to give you away.
Yeah. Yeah. Something to aim at too.
Yeah, right.
Oh man, yeah, that is wild, George. And so, how many jumps did you make during World War II?
Oh my goodness. I don't really know exactly.
Oh, you don't. It doesn't have to be exact. I was just thinking like
Yeah.
a ballpark, like
Oh,
Five or
must
six,
have been-
wasn't it?
yeah,
20 or 30.
20 or 30. Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Sometimes
In
every
World
day.
War II, Dad.
Huh?
During World War II.
Yeah.
During World War
You
II,
made that many jumps?
20 or 30.
Well, yes, before we got into action.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah, holy. Oh, so 20, 30 training jumps, and then
Right.
and then overseas,
right.
and then your daughter Carla was saying, what'd you say, 5, 4 or
I
5?
think 4 or 5.
4 or
when he
5
was during
in
the war.
combat, I guess, combat jumps.
Yeah.
Man, those, I can't even imagine the stress in a combat jump.
Well, distance is so far from where we landed over there, and then you go to Belgium. That's a long walk.
Yeah.
And so you didn't fly over there. You walked over there.
Yeah.
And then you got to jump. We called it a free jump. Hey, we got a free jump today.
Yeah.
And then from that free jump, you're on your own until they came again sometime
Oh.
farther on. And
Pick you up
things-
and reload you.
yeah,
Yeah.
things had slowed down or something. Say, hey, free jump today.
Yeah.
So you go up, just like this flight we had, very short.
Yeah.
Out the door you went. The fight was on, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know.
Tell him what you said when you were coming down.
Huh?
Tell him what you thought when you were coming down in the parachute.
Well, coming down with that parachute, and bullets were going through it.
Oh.
Plunk, 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 plunk.
Yeah.
I said, dear God, you can put as many holes in that parachute as you want, but don't put it in me.
Yeah. Please. don't.
you know.
Yeah. Oh man, I couldn't even imagine. That is unreal.
Yeah. Well, you're not up there that long with those parachutes. They were real small. They're only 18 feet.
Oh, I didn't know.
And so you jumped at a low distance. You only jumped at about 300 or 400 feet
Oh.
versus 8 or 9.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so
That makes sense, yeah. Because when I was jumping, I was still in the round parachute, and I think being a bigger guy at the time, I think it was a 32-foot parachute, and at 1,500 feet, it's still, I think it's 30-second ride, I think is what it was to the ground. So yours was probably
That's all.
half that even,
Right.
15 seconds, I imagine.
yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, you're jumping so low with those parachutes, you're on the ground before you hardly knew it.
Yeah.
And
How much?
they always taught you how to land, they what they call landing, but Well, you better forget it because it's not like landing out in a field when they're doing training,
Yeah.
you know. And there's nobody there to give you hell if you didn't make the right roll.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. You probably just kind of, see a boulder coming, just kind of.
Besides that, you're carrying a heavy load.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know.
yeah.
I was carrying a 7-foot bazooka on my shoulders,
Holy cow, George.
tied to my right leg underneath my reserve parachute, and we had reserves for water in case,
Oh.
because German had drained so many fields. They hadn't drained them. I mean, they flooded so many fields. Several of the guys drowned
Oh.
when they went out. They were carrying too big a load. They hit the water and went under that water, and they couldn't get out.
Oh, whoa.
So we had quite a few guys that were drowned.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing they warned you about. You're flying over it, and hopefully you don't have to jump, but you look down there and there's water.
Yeah.
A few spots look like just little terraces,
Yeah.
Go for the terrace, I'd say.
Yeah.
So you land there, but some of them didn't make it.
Holy cow.
They were too far over the water instead of getting towards the edge of it. So, yeah, I really felt sorry for those guys.
Yeah, I
Oh,
bet.
man.
I imagine. I mean, like that bazooka you were carrying
Yeah.
probably weighed a ton. 7 feet long. Holy cow.
I landed with that. By the way, I'll back up.
Yeah.
And Eisenhower interviewed us before we jumped the 101st. And then he came over to the 82nd, which we were in,
Yeah.
and he gave us the same story about it. And so he said, you don't have to worry about big trees, he said. Ha ha ha.
That's what President Eisenhower said?
Yeah. And you landed on in France, they have all those big fields that look like tubs to me.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a gate at one end and there's a gate at the other end, and in the middle is the tall grass where they fed their cattle or their sheep or whatever that was.
Yeah.
They'd open that gate at one end, and once they ate all that food and so forth, they opened the gate in the other end. They just kept going for 4 or 5 miles.
Oh.
And so I landed in the first one, or right on the edge of it,
Yeah.
at St. Mary-Église. The little town of St. Mary-Église seemed like just about from here to that car,
Oh, really? Yeah, just
across the street.
Yeah, it's right here.
And so forth. And I got that bazooka on my shoulder, and I landed in the deep grass.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason I hit it, the deep grass, I came down through a tree limbs.
Oh.
A big tree, 17 feet tall or better,
Yeah.
and didn't make any noise. You just come on down through it, and I hit the edge of the bank and slid down the bank with my bazooka. I was glad that I had that bazooka on, because I would have hit a street
Oh.
otherwise.
Yeah. Because there's enough weight to keep you from.
Yeah, instead I hit the bank,
Yeah.
and slid down. So I took that bazooka off and got rid of it,
Yeah.
because the grass was about 3 feet deep over your head when you sat down.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was good.
Yeah.
And the brush, of course, was 4 to 6 feet all the way around that
Oh.
thing,
Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty thick.
But there were tall trees also,
Yeah. Yeah, were you thinking?
which evidently they didn't take a picture well enough to realize those trees were there.
Yeah, I was going to say, were you thinking to yourself, like, Eisenhower lied to
Yeah.
us?
Oh yeah, and they said don't land in a tree. Well, there's one anyway you could help it.
Yeah. Well, I know at least in jumping training, they said sometimes you get a softer landing if you aim for a tree. 'Cause, especially if you're like near a rock scree or something, you'd rather put yourself in a tree than in the rocks, you know?
Right.
Man.
Yeah, when you went out that door, you didn't know what you were going to land on.
I bet. And
You know?
you probably couldn't steer that parachute very
And-
well, right?
And all the firing that night was just like you would swear it was the 4th of July in the States, because of all the charges going off and blowing wings off of airplanes and gliders and so forth, and
Wow.
rifle bullets coming up out of with the guys standing down there with a rifle trying to knock you out of the air and so on and
Yeah.
so forth.
Was-
I don't know to this day how I made it to the ground,
Oh man.
let alone everything else. After I got to the ground, it was, to me, didn't bother me at all. But that getting to the ground with, you could see the bullets in the air as you're going down, and
Yeah.
you're still looking for a place to land.
Yeah. Jeez, man.
It's all new,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, all foreign land and holy cow. I mean, unimaginable. I mean, like for me, like I've never experienced anything like that. So I'm trying to like picture as you're talking, like
Yeah.
just pure chaos and the noise probably too, right? From all the rounds.
Right. Oh, yeah, like I said, it sounded like the 4th of July.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. They were knocking airplanes and gliders out of the sky.
Yeah.
I'd sit there and look up and I'd see a glider. All of a sudden, the wings gone,
Oh.
and it's going straight down. If there were troops in it, there was no surviving
Yeah.
in that. But if there was armament or something, it's going to hit the ground and just explode, kind of,
Yeah. How many folks were in the glider? Was it 2 people in the glider?
Oh, usually about 15.
Oh no, I didn't know they were that
Yeah.
big. Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah,
Dang.
just about like the airplane.
Yeah. Just without the motor and.
Just sat on the edge of a bench,
Oh really?
Yeah,
Jeez, I have to look up pictures of that because all the gliders that I've seen are new gliders where it's like a one person gets towed out and kind of just joyrides around
Right.
back to an airstrip. So
well, they used to give you training in the glider, but they had nice cushioned seats for you to sit in, individual,
Oh yeah.
But then when the war came, it was all straight, just like that.
Oh.
But there wasn't any bench. It was just a solid bench like in that DC-3,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally.
and then nothing to hold on to except the seat,
Yeah.
because you weren't going to be in it very long.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh man. Dang. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I was always told you don't really want a comfortable seat because it makes you want to get out the door faster. So it keeps you from wanting to stay in the airplane.
Well, it all depend on where you were going, because a lot of times you're standing up already.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Jeez.
you're already 18. I think there was 18 in a row,
Oh.
and there's 2 rows,
Yeah.
one after the other, just bang, 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 bang. That's the way you went out that door. And, well, I had that bazooka, and so I was put right at the end of the airplane, right where the pilot is, at that end.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I had to stay there until everybody got out, because at the end of the glider it hung over about that long. And if I had been in the middle of it, somebody behind me may have tripped over it or something. And so they said, Cross, you're right at the very end. Lean up against that pilot.
Yeah, really? Dang. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. George, you got that?
It's okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's all me.
Yeah,
Get out of your way.
So that's why I just leaned up against the wall, until he yelled at me.
Yeah.
And
Had to be tough to walk with that thing down your leg.
yeah, I just hustled down there real fast,
Yeah.
and get out of there, get out of there, get out. You got to get out of there, get out of there, get out of there.
Just let you know.
Don't worry, as soon
Yeah.
as I get that door, I'm gone.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me twice. I'm on my way.
Right.
Yeah. And then, was most of your tour during World War II in Europe, or did you after was it VE Day, Victory in Europe? Where'd you go after? Where'd you go after that, or did you?
After the war,
All
I went all the way through the war.
the way through. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and Battle of the Bulge was the last place.
Oh, whoa.
And I was in there, and I had 3 days there, and they came over. Hey, Cross! Everybody was Cross. Yeah,
Yeah.
the captain wants to see you. Oh, okay, so I go and say, you're going back home. I said, going back home? The war's not over yet.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back home. I want to stay here. No, you're going back home. You got some training to do.
Oh.
And so I get back home, and my training was the same as it was before I left. I was training individuals how to load gliders.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the glider had to be loaded just exactly right. If it's too light over here and heavy over here, it's going to turn over.
Oh, yeah.
So you had to make sure that if this was armaments, guns and things like that, okay, over on the other side of the glider had to be the same weight.
Yeah.
And the center was empty most of the time,
Really?
unless it has a Jeep in it,
Oh.
or a 75 pack howitzer, which is about the same different weights,
Oh.
of course.
Howitzer and a Jeep
Say
are
that
about
you-
the same?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a
So-
big gun.
Yeah, but if it's troops, and there's so many troops over here on the side, then you had to weigh the troops each individually so that by same weight as the other side. So you got a nice glider, like they say, they glide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Otherwise, they tip.
I bet.
You don't know whether they're going to tip over or not.
Yeah. Do you remember the wingspan on one of those things? Was it pretty massive?
I don't know exactly, but they're about the same as the airplane.
Gotcha. Like a DC-3 like wingspan.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's what I was just picturing because like all the stuff that you can load in. I'm like, had to be
Yeah.
good sized.
They look like they're shorter,
Oh really?
but they're not.
Just because they're missing the engines, probably, right?
Right.
Yeah. Man, that is cool. And then you said you got to go up and Miss Montana yesterday.
Today.
Oh, today you guys did. Oh yeah, this morning. That's what. Yeah, you told me 8:00, right?
Yep.
You had to be at Museum Mountain Plain at 7:30.
Yep.
Was it incredible?
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. Wonderful.
I bet.
I'm surprised you didn't see them. I think they fly pretty close to this area right here when they turn around to go back.
I think so. Yeah, I think when I first was setting up here this morning, I'd heard it going over, but I was so busy getting stuff together. But then it just came over again right after I finished this last
Yep,
one,
yep,
and
yep.
and I saw it. I was like, oh, that's definitely what I was
Yep.
going over this morning because
Yeah.
the sign was the same. Did you get a jump out of Miss Montana before, like years ago?
No.
Oh, was it gone before you became a jumper?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Because I knew it went away for a while and then came
I
back.
hadn't done any jumping in I don't know how many years now.
Yeah, a lot.
A
Yeah.
lot.
Well, yeah, 86 though. I mean, well, 39 years. I guess I'm 39 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you went back so, I derailed this for a second, so I'll go back to, after leaving the war, World War II, you went back to training for loading gliders, and then how'd you get wrapped up in the smoke jumping?
Well, they assign you so many troops.
Oh, yeah.
I was assigned 8 guys when I hit the ground. And, well, first of all, I was in the 82nd Airborne, and the captain said, "Cross." I said, "Yeah." I said, "We're training you to the 505 in the infantry." I said, "What? What for?"
Yeah.
Well, they've got a job for you. So the job was to find a 75 pack howitzer,
Oh.
because that's the infantry. There was the 8505 was infantry.
Oh.
And I was in artillery, 456 parachute field artillery, and we had 2 of those. And so I had to get one of them. One came in a glider that I loaded when I was in the States, and they wanted that pack howitzer. I don't know why, but well, there's one in the glider. It said glider number 5 has got the pack howitzer. I said, "Yeah, I know it has because I packed it."
Yeah, I put it there. Yeah.
But one, I'll just forward ahead.
Yeah.
I took all 8 of those guys, and we went through those gliders. We spent 4 hours looking for that howitzer, and we couldn't find it. So we go back to the plane and said, "Captain, there's no artillery in that glider. We don't have a number 5, because all the gliders are numbered."
Oh.
And number 5 had a pack howitzer in it. There's no pack howitzer, and there's no number 5. "Well, there's got to be a number 5. He said. I said, "Sir, I loaded all those gliders. There should be a number 5, but there isn't. Maybe it got blown out of the sky somewhere.
Oh.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I get back to the States after they pulled me out of the Battle of the Bulge. My job was to train these new recruits how to load gliders. And so I questioned them, "Why? The war is over." "No, the war's not over. The war's not over," they kept telling me.
Yeah.
"Why?" "Well, we're going to Japan.
Oh.
So you're going to teach these guys how to load gliders, because gliders are going in with ammunition and food and so on and so forth, you know.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they have to know how to do it so they don't lose a glider before it gets there.
Yeah.
And so
Uh,
I said, oh, okay, you know.
yeah, important work then.
Yeah, I had a lot of important work.
Yeah.
And so the first day that I got over there, I went out to the glider field, excuse me,
Oh, yeah.
where we were training. I see number 5. Oh, there's number 5.
Found it.
And guess what?
What's that?
There was the pack howitzer.
Still there?
Yeah,
Yes.
inside that glider. And, you know, and only 2 or 3 guys can push that pack howitzer around. They're not that heavy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you get them balanced. You push that cannon down, and a couple guys on the other end, you can pull it around pretty easily. You don't need a Jeep to haul them, but
Really? I
if
didn't
you're
know.
going long distance, so then they put it behind a Jeep,
Oh,
and
yeah.
a Jeep pulls them, you know.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I said, hey, push that pack howitzer out here. I want a photograph, you know.
Yeah.
So they pushed it out there, and so I got a picture with my elbow hanging on that pack howitzer.
Very cool. Do you still have the photo?
Oh yeah, I still got the photo.
Man, if you guys get a chance, if you could send me a copy of that photo, that'd be very cool. 'Cause I'd like to put it with the episode, you know? I think that'd be awesome. Man, did you show what the folks looking for? Like, hey, I found it, you know?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's got the number right out there. You know, we had a big number
Yeah.
on the front and big numbers on either side, so you could identify them. So we spent all that time looking for it.
Yeah.
But there were so many gliders that were shot up and they were empty and dead soldiers here, there, and everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
And we were getting shot at for 4 hours, bang, 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 and nobody got hit.
That's nuts.
But boy, the bullets would go over your shoulder, and those gliders are made out of either canvas or plywood, you know, like thin plywood like
Just
that.
like this guy here, eh?
Yeah.
Oh.
A bullet will go right through them. You
Yeah.
know? And you can hear it when it goes through. Whap.
Oh,
you know?
I bet. I didn't even think canvas, though. Holy cow.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, it'd go through that too. It just makes
Yeah.
a little bit of a noise, you know.
Yeah, so thin. Holy cow. Man, what an experience. And I forgot to ask you earlier, on your original jump to
Mary and Gleese.
St. Mary and Gleese, thank you, Carla. How many were on the ground? How many airborne were with you?
How many?
Yeah, how many of you guys jumped?
Oh, there were 8 of us.
Oh, only 8.
Yeah, well, when you jump, when you're first flying out, their plane is loaded.
Oh yeah.
But then once you hit the ground, you're assigned so many troops.
Oh.
So they usually assign you a squad, you know, 6, 7, or 8, whatever.
Yeah.
So you got an equal number.
Oh, gotcha.
And so then you start around looking for Germans.
Yeah, so they're like, you 8, here's your destination, and be there by such and such date, or how does that work for orders?
Well, you get up in the morning and you have some chow real quick, and then you're assigned to an area.
Oh.
That's your area over there, you know.
Yeah.
They just point it. It's like pointing to that building over there.
Oh, gotcha.
We have to walk all that way over there, and all that
Yeah.
walking that you're going to do is filled full of Germans, and so
Yeah.
you had to hide out and
And
take
stalk
care
and
of any
sneak.
German and so forth. I took care of one while I was sitting there, and the grass, like I said, was high,
Yeah, yeah.
and I couldn't see him, and I don't think he saw me, but he was smoking,
Oh.
and so he'd take a cigarette and smoke it. That's how I noticed. He'd blow the smoke out, and the cigarette smoke was drifting over towards me. I'd been there, I bet
Yeah.
you, a half an hour before it happened.
Oh.
And you can't see through that tall grass, so forth, you know. But I think he could because he was a sniper,
Oh.
and he was looking for guys, you know,
Yeah, dangerous.
so forth.
Yeah.
And so anyway, he'd light those cigarettes. He must have been there 3 or 4 hours. If you've ever been in the service and you've been in one spot for any place of time, you begin to get sleepy.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's what was happening to him.
So you light a cigarette to stay awake, probably.
Yeah, he couldn't stay awake.
Yeah.
So he'd light a cigarette, take a couple of puffs off it, blowing smoke out, throw the cigarette away, sit there, now pretty soon he's going like this,
No,
lighting
no.
another cigarette. I swear he probably, before I got there, went through a pack of cigarettes within a half hour or more.
Man,
You
yeah.
know?
Just barely staying awake.
Yeah.
He was probably nervous also.
Yo, yeah, that too, probably. Yeah, nervous smoking as well. And
Yeah.
oh, man. You were able to get the jump on him so he didn't get you then.
Well, that's the other thing, I don't know why he would wasn't on a more of an alert because we were jumping right away
Yeah.
over that,
Yeah.
and so forth. And so when I landed in that tree, down through the tree and so forth,
Yeah.
well, I don't know where the rest of the plane load landed,
Oh, gotcha.
so, but they landed here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
Some were drowned in the water that was out there
Yeah.
because they had too much weight and they couldn't miss that pond,
Yeah.
so they went down there.
Yeah, and those, compared to like the chutes I flew, you couldn't really steer those ones, right?
No.
The ones you were jumping? Yeah.
Couldn't do anything.
Yeah, you just kind of along for the ride. Or...
Not with those. No, you couldn't steer those parachutes if you wanted to,
Yeah.
even though they had strings on them. That's all they do was just hold on to,
Oh, gotcha. Something to hold on to.
keep your parachute open.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it took you where it wanted to go.
Oh, gotcha. Just along for the ride. Yeah.
Wherever the wind was blowing, that's the
Yeah.
way you went with that parachute.
Oh,
You
man.
know, like now the new parachutes, they've got a slot on either side of them.
Yep.
Just pull the string, close them, and open them, or whatever you want. That's why you can spin, and that's why you can go straight. Well, you've been.
Yep. Yeah, you can maneuver them really well. Even the
right.
last round that I was jumping, you could steer the thing into wherever. Really nice. So, did you go straight from the military to smoke jumping then, or how did that transition happen? How'd you end up in the smoke jumpers?
How'd I end up in them?
Yeah, how'd you end up being a smoke jumper?
Oh, I was teaching here at the university,
Oh, really?
and in physical education, and I had a gymnastic class, and I had a couple of smoke jumpers in my class. And so they said, "Hey, professor, why don't you come out and join in with us?" And I said, "Join you? We're doing what?" He said, "Oh, we're having a good time out there." I said, "Well, okay." They wouldn't tell me.
Oh,
So I said, "Where is it?" "Well, it's over at the Smoke Jumper Center." Well, that gave it away,
yeah.
said. So I went out one day and met them. And so they said, "Well," I said, "Well, we're getting ready to go out on a fire." And I said, "But they won't let you go because you're not attached to the smoke jumpers.
Oh, yeah.
So, but you can join. And so I said, "Oh, good, I'll join. I need a job."
Yeah. Yeah, a little summer gig, right?
Right. Because, you go to school. Well, here, the school lasted 12 months, and then you had to get another job because they closed for summer.
Yeah.
So you were going to be out of job for about 3 months.
Yeah.
I said, "Well, you got to eat. You got."
Yeah, gotta be able to afford it
Yeah.
to live. So
So anyway, I joined them,
yeah,
and so I went down to the training unit and I was watching them try to climb a rope,
oh,
and they couldn't climb a rope.
really?
Oh, they'd reach up with one arm,
Yeah,
try to pull themselves off the ground. I just stood there and kind of laughed, because I said, "Hey, you want to lean on to climb that rope? Come up to the gym at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll teach you how to climb a rope. Within a short distance, by the time you leave at 6 o'clock, you'll be able to climb a rope."
yeah,
And they said, "Oh, you're kidding." I said, "No, I'm not kidding you. If you do it the way I suggest, you'll be able to climb up and come down real easy." So I said, so there's 4 showed up to the gymnasium.
oh wow,
And so we had a 50-foot rope, went up there. And so I'd sit down and go up the rope, and then I'd come back down, and I'd say, "Now, do you see what I did?" "Yeah, we saw." "Okay, who's first?" Then one of them raised his hand. "Okay, grab a hold of the rope." One arm, and I tried that one arm. I said, Whoa. You're not doing it right. Sit down. Then I said, "Pick another one." All 3 of them one arm, one arm, one arm. I said, how come you're doing it with one arm?
Yeah.
Well, that's the way we get a hold of it, you know. I said, well, let's go over here to the high bar. It was 10 feet high off the floor. I said, I want you to jump up there with both hands. Okay, so they jump up there. I said, now let go with one hand. So they let go. I said, okay, now do a pull-up. Oh, I can't do a pull-up.
Can't do it, yeah.
I said, that's what you're trying to do on the rope. You're trying to do a pull-up with one arm.
Yeah.
And how far are you getting? You aren't getting off your feet. You know, I said, both hands. Boing, boing. If you have to, bang your hand together so that you know you got them.
Yeah.
And up the rope you go, and down the rope you come.
Yeah.
I said, oh, that's so much easier. I said, okay, now sit down. So they'd sit down. Okay, now do it. Well, we have to get off the floor. I said, no, you're going to get off the floor. Just start out. See how far you go.
Yeah.
You know, even if you only get as far as standing, at least you got up. Now you know what to do. Keep your hands together.
Yeah, getting the technique down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Away you go, up, back, down again, so forth.
Oh, cool.
And so I don't know. I've seen some of those guys here, I think, but I can't remember their names.
Oh, I bet you
And
have.
they haven't said anything,
Yeah.
you know.
'Cause they're probably thinking the same thing. They're like, I think that's George over there. And it's funny because, like, you know, but also, like, I think you get to talking to so many people. Like, last night, I mean, it took me almost all night to find you guys because, you know, I'd been told about you guys when I first got here because, you know, the podcast was going to be part of the reunion and, you know, hoping to capture some stories like your guys' great story. And so I remember, like, you guys had left or something. So I was like, all right, well, you know, like, my friend got your number, my friend Matt, and I was like, all right, well, I'll get a hold of him. And then someone's like, have you talked to George and Carla yet? And I was like, no, they're like, oh yeah, they're in there eating. I was like, oh, I won't bother them then. And then on your way out, I ran into you, and then ran into one of my friends from high school. His dad was a jumper, and I ran into him like last night. And it was like, I've been here all day, but like there were so many people yesterday. It was impressive.
Yes.
So then, did you help with training then after like helping those folks with the rope? Did you get into the training position at the jump base?
Well, every morning then I was working at the visiting center.
Oh yeah.
And so I'd drift off all day. There would hardly be anybody coming to the visitor center.
Yeah.
If I see a big bus coming, then I'd go back up to the visitor center. Otherwise, I'd go down to the training unit and watch them.
Yeah.
You know, I say, I can help you climbing that rope. And the leader said, yeah, he can help you right away. He said, I never thought of it.
Yeah. Oh, perfect.
So
So
I do that there once in a while, you know.
Yeah.
I go down there and I'd say, how many have I got?
Yes.
Well, you got about 3 or 4, they'd say, you know.
Yeah.
Well, they're new.
Yeah.
They haven't paid any attention to what I've been telling them and so on and so forth. You know. I said, well, just let them suffer then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if they're not going to listen, you know, it's on them.
They get hung up in a tree and they have to climb that rope to get the parachute out. Well, they'll suffer.
Yeah, 100%. Instead of learning the easier
Take them
way.
an hour to get up there with that.
And then they're exhausted if they're not doing it the right way.
Right.
You know?
No lie.
Yeah.
Once you get up there, you know, they'll be so tired. And then they try to come down too fast. And for say, you know, they're 15, 20 feet off the ground and they let go.
Oh.
They hit the ground, you know. I said, that's a good way to break a leg
That's what I was just going to say. A really good way to get injured.
in a training, and you'll be done as a smoke jumper.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know?
'Cause breaking something, you know, that's all season to recover, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So George, you went from the visitor center then to full-time smoke jumping then like the next season or next year?
I did. When school started, I couldn't work as a smoke jumper, but as soon as summer came, bang, I was there.
Oh, awesome.
You know.
Yeah. And I forgot to ask in the beginning, how old are you now?
Sorry?
How old are you now?
How old am I?
Yeah.
100 years old.
100 years old?
Yeah.
Man, that is awesome. You look incredible, by the way. Man, if I didn't know you were in World War II, I wouldn't have probably pegged you at 100. Like, you look amazing. How old were you when you quit smoke jumping in '86? Do you remember? trying to think of how that would be. You're 100 years now. I'm 39, so almost 40 years.
I was,
Were you in your
He was in his 50s.
50s? I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because they would not let him smoke jump.
Oh,
They
yeah.
would not let him jump when he first went in.
Oh, because age.
Because age.
Oh.
Yes, there was an age limit.
Yes.
So then they took the age limit away. Then he was allowed to jump.
Oh yeah.
So at one time he was the nation's oldest smoke jumper.
Really? Jeez, George. Man, see, these are these interviews go. I get like a little bit of information from somebody else, or even just talking to you guys, and then all of a sudden like something else, and it's like just the compounding awesome, cool stories and legend of what you've lived. It's incredible. Did you have any like highlight smoke jumper stories then?
All right.
Yeah.
Do you have any exciting smoke jumper stories to tell?
No, I don't.
No.
No, nothing that stood out.
No.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, no worries. Well, I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. Do you guys have anything else you want to share? Or?
What do we got left today?
We don't have a whole lot left today, Dad, except for dinner tonight.
Oh,
Yeah, it's 12:17 right now.
Yeah.
So
We'll just hang out. We'll go have some lunch.
yeah. Well, I don't want to leave anything on the table. Carla, is there anything else that I should ask?
I can't think of any. I don't know because I don't know for sure what all you were going to talk about.
No, yeah, just kind of this, and
Okay.
just really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate your service, and also appreciate you being a smoke jumper and giving so much to this great country. I mean, that's a lot, my friend. Like D-Day, and throughout all of World War II, training folks for the Japanese theater. I think that's Pacific theater, right? And then becoming a smoke jumper and fighting fires. Like, man, that is amazing life you've lived, George. And
well, when we took off over in Normandy,
oh yeah,
well, I was in one airplane, and other guys were in another airplane, a different group. They were infantry, and I was artillery, and so forth until we got there, and the planes go in together usually.
Oh, gotcha.
And so they usually are not parked too far apart, and so that's what happened. And then I got sent over to the 505, and because they wanted a pack howitzer,
Yeah.
and I said, "You're infantry. How come you didn't have a pack howitzer?" "Well, we were never given one. We never thought we needed it until we got over here," they said,
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, you need all the ammunition you can get."
Oh, 100%.
Well, anyway, we didn't get the pack howitzer, but we went back. I went back to the infantry because that's what I was signed for the rest of the war.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, you're from now on you're infantry.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be infantry when I started because I started my basic training at Fort Bragg.
Fort Benning?
Where'd I say?
Benning.
Kentucky.
Oh, Kentucky. Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah.
I thought, well, you're going to be infantry all the time, And then all of a sudden, artillery, and all of a sudden I end up infantry.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
I said, oh, well, that's all right.
Totally.
But anyway, I was given 8 guys. But before that, I'll back up. I was sitting there in this tall grass, and of course, I killed him.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, because I just got on my hands and knees. Our parachute at that time, or our suits we had on, had an opening right down the zipper, and underneath that zipper was a knife. Handle was about this long, and the blade was about the same length, and it was as sharp as a razor.
Yeah.
I said, uh-oh, I've got my target, so forth. So I got on my hands and knees, and when things quieted down a little bit, then I crawled over there, and his head was falling over, and his head was falling over. And so I was about from you to me, and I'd just sneak a little bit farther and a little bit closer and closer until I got close enough so his head almost fell on me, and he didn't even see me.
Didn't even know it was coming. Yeah.
And I grabbed him by the chin and pulled it back, and goodbye German,
Yeah. Man, hell of an intro.
And so anyway, when the rest of the troops came, we were right there, And I said, you see that plane over there? Yeah, I see it. I said, how many people you count? Well, let me see. There's 2 or 3. I said, what do you mean either 2 or almost 2 or 3? They're either 2 or they're 3.
Yeah.
And he said, why you want to know? I said, well, you did basic training, right? Yeah. How many minutes does it take to handle a machine gun? Oh, it takes 3. I said, well, now stand here and take another look. What do you see walking around over there? Well, I see one guy carrying something and 2 guys sitting there at the machine. I said, well, that machine is a machine gun. You should have known that from basic training.
Yeah.
I said, we've got to get rid of those 3.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're going to be getting rid of us,
Yeah.
you know. I said, oh, well, Sarge, how are we going to do it? And so I said to this one kid, how good are you with a bayonet? Oh, I'm really good, Sarge. I said, well, pick out a couple more that are you're just as good as you are or close to it. Okay, where are we going? I said, you're going over to the machine gun. We're going over to the machine gun? I said, yeah, you're in a war. You're in a war.
Yeah.
That's where you're going to go. If you don't get rid of those guys, they're going to get rid of us.
Yeah.
And I said, look how many we got here. They began to come in there, and I had about 45 guys.
Oh, really?
You know, yeah. I'll back up on that story for a second. But so they said, how are we going to get over there? I said, well, look at the grass. I said, now get down here on the road. He came down the road. I said, look over there now. Can't see anything. They can't see you either.
Yeah.
Because you're down here on the road, and there's that hump, which is about 6 to 8 feet high, where we're putting all their gear,
Yeah.
so forth. And I said, all you have to do is walk on that road until you get to the corner, then sneak up on it. That grass is 3 feet, 4 feet. Stay on your bellies until you get all the way over there. I said, make sure you got your bayonet in your rifle and don't have the scabbard on it.
Yeah.
You got to take that scabbard off.
Oh, man, it's be bad news
You know?
if you had that on there.
So they said, okay. I said, I'm going to give you 30 minutes to get the job done. What are we supposed to do? I said, what are you going to do? Just go over there and handshake with those guys?
Give them a little tickle.
You know, oh, I didn't realize we're supposed to kill them.
Yeah.
I said, where are you? Well, I said, what did General Eisenhower tell you? You're in a war.
Yeah.
And one guy asked while General Eisenhower was talking, what were we supposed to do if they're trying to run away from us instead of getting down onto the beach? He said, kill them.
Yeah.
You're in a war.
Yeah, exactly.
He said it 2 or 3 times. You are now in a war.
Yeah. Got to switch your mindset.
Kill them.
Yeah.
Said otherwise they'll probably end up killing you.
Yeah. Yeah. Us or them.
I said, what you want?
Yeah.
You know, walk around dead or take care of an enemy.
Yeah.
So that's what you're here for. Kill them.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. You know, and he just walked away. So we had that, you know.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, they got their job done, and right there where I was, all the guys were coming. We had that clicker, click, 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 which will draw attention to our guys coming in because it's still dark.
Oh, gotcha. So they can hear, listen to where
Right.
you're clicking. And
Yeah, you could hear it almost half a mile away, the ones that we had.
Oh.
But eventually, I lost mine. I came over here on a visit, over there to visit, and I was clicking it one day, and the guy said, "Is that your clicker?" I said, "Yeah, it's my clicker." "Could we see it?" "Yeah, you can see it." And so we were on the bus. Hand it down, let everybody see it.
Yeah.
So I get back. Everybody saw it but me. I never saw it again.
No.
Somebody took it. You
Oh,
know.
no. That was recently?
Oh, yeah, it was.
The first trip to Normandy, I think, wasn't
Oh,
it?
no. Oh, that's unfortunate. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'd love to see one. I've never seen one.
Yeah, a couple of young guys said, I think they decided that, we like that, you know. And
Man.
when I leave that bus, no way to find them.
Yeah, it's absolutely. Geez,
You
it
know.
sucks.
But
George.
anyway,
I wish I could find one. I'd find one for you if I could find
Oh,
one.
he has another one.
Oh, you do?
He had
Oh,
a
good.
oh
replica
yeah,
one.
you can get them now. They're about that big.
Oh, really?
Just little things. Click, click,
Oh,
click,
wow.
click. I mean, you could go to that building there. Nobody would even turn up to see what was going on, you know. But
Yeah.
with those big ones, they're made of brass. And it took quite a bit to push them down and make that click.
Oh, yeah.
And the noise really carried.
Jeez.
It would carry at least quarter mile away.
Oh, really?
You know,
Yeah.
you could hear it.
I never knew
so-
that. That's the first time I ever heard of something like that.
But anyway, we were finally getting enough guys in there. I said, just hide in this grass. It said, hide in this grass and hide in this grass until we get enough guys. And then we're going to start marching.
Yeah.
So they said, okay. They said, well, I said, and then look for Germans walking around. So forth. What did Eisenhower said? He wanted absolutely no Germans. You're 17 miles behind the line. I want positively no Germans getting down to the beach during the invasion. Positively none. And that's when one of the guys said, well, what are we supposed to do if they try to run away? He said, kill them,
Yeah. Take them out.
kill them. Then we killed 2 in the ditch trying to get away. And that slowed it down right there.
Yeah.
But anyway, the rest of them all came, and you could hear them coming up on that gravel with those big boots they had on. Clunk, 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 you know.
Yeah, it's
And
marching.
they said, what are we going to do, Sarge? I said, well, when they get halfway along on that ditch that we're on, I'm going to run out there and yell, halt. And I can speak a little bit of German,
Oh, really?
and I'll get them stopped. And so he did. I said, just absolutely quiet. Don't say a word and don't raise up so they can see what it is until I yell halt. Then you can raise up. Make sure you've got your bayonet in your rifle and you don't have a scabbard on it.
Yes.
Take that scabbard off.
Yeah.
So, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. I said, don't give me a sir. Just say, yes, Sergeant. You know? So you know you're talking to me.
Yeah.
So, okay. And so when they got up there, I ran out there and I yelled, halt, you know. And I said, sprechen Sie English? 999, which in German means no. So I said again, sprechen Sie English? 999. But there was a guy standing in the ranks, and every time I'd ask it, he'd nod his head. Yeah, he can speak English, you know. So I said, I'm going to do it one more time. Sprechen Sie English? Yeah, yeah. I said, okay, this is what you're going to do. Number 1, you take off that great big heavy coat after you put your rifle up on the bank. I want ein pile, only one pile, among all of you. Every rifle is laying there, and they're all in one pile. And I'm going to have a couple of guys up there to make sure that this happens. Okay, so take off your rifle. Give it to a guy. You know, run it up there and put it on the bank. Okay, now you know where it is. Yeah, I know where it is. Come back to the line and stand right there. Okay, now take off that big heavy coat you got on. They all had those big gray coats on with the title on the collar,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
so forth, you know. That was Hitler's special outfit, you know.
Oh.
And they're behind the lines, and their job was to eventually get down to the beach,
Yeah.
which we took care of, and they didn't make it.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got their rifles over there, we got their coats over there, and they came back. I said, now sitzen, which in German means sit. So they sat down. It had rain the night before, and like, you know how a road will do, it'll get a puddle in the middle. And I said, but there's water. I said, that water won't hurt you. Sit down, you know.
Yeah.
Now take off your boots. And the guy said, "Hey, why do they have to take off their boots, Sarge?" And I said, "You'll find out in just a minute.
Yeah, let me finish.
Take those boots off. Okay, now turn them upside down. Turn them upside down," I said. Okay, they turn them upside. And all these daggers, beautiful daggers that collects if you go to a, what do you call it?
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to help you. I know what you're trying to say, but like an army surplus
An
or
antique store.
yeah, antique.
Antique shop or
Oh,
was an antique shop, so a shop.
yeah.
Anyway, and this one guy was making, he was a Belgium, and he was making a shop out of it, you know.
Oh.
And
Like
so,
a knife maker shop, like.
yeah,
Yeah.
so we had a pile of those gun, and the guys said, "Oh, Sarge, you're taking away all our souvenirs."
Oh, yeah.
I said, "No, you'll get a souvenir. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You'll get a souvenir."
Man.
And so now tell them to come back and sit down. Come back, sitzen. But there's water. So what? Water's not going to hurt them.
Yeah.
But Sarge, you're getting awful mean. I said, "You think I'm mean? Just wait a little bit,
Yeah.
you know." So they sat down, you know, and they got their boots off. Now, okay, now put those boots up there on one pile, the same pile. It's going to get bigger and bigger, but you're going to put all that stuff up there. And I said, now make sure that the only thing that falls out of those boots are those knives, nothing else. No ammunition of any kind they can pick up and throw at you,
Yeah.
so forth. I, I said, I forgot to tell you to check their coats. Check the coat pockets, because they probably may have had a grenade or something. That's all it'd take.
Oh, yeah.
And wipe the whole crew out.
Yeah.
You know? So, okay, so they did that. I said, now take off your shirt. Take off their shirt. Put it up there on the pile. Put it up there on the pile. They put it up on the pile. Now come back and sitzen. So they come back, they'd sit down. I said, now take off your pants. And all the guys said, "Well, Sergeant, you're awful mean." I said, "Yeah, I'm not mean yet."
Yeah.
So they took off their pants. And they said, "Now, why'd you make them take off their pants?" I said, "How many of them are going to run down that hill with underwear on, only underwear on, or naked?"
Yeah.
"Oh," I said, "would you do it?" "No, I wouldn't do it." I said, "You think they're any dumber than you are?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they can't hide any weapons or anything at that point. Like,
No weapons,
Yeah.
nothing. They've
Yep.
got nothing. They have no clothes where they can hide anything or anything.
Yeah.
Now they're going to stay there until the march is over. The invasion is over. Once the invasion is over, we'll pick out four of you guys. I want you to stand along one of those paths coming up out of the water there, and pick out those guys that are wearing their caps with an M on them, which means that they are with the military, so forth. And they'll take care. We'll assign them to these guys, and they'll take care of them, and they'll take them off, and they'll build a fence to put them in,
yeah.
so forth.
Like a
You know,
camp
I
or
said,
something, right? Yeah.
yeah, I said, we don't have enough men to do it, but they'll have enough,
Yeah.
because what do you want to do? Just want to stay around and watch those guys through a war? I said, no, I don't. I said, and I don't think you do either.
No.
That's a pretty monotonous job, but that's why we got the other troops up here.
Yeah.
They've all got their job, and they're assigned that and so forth. So that's what we did.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys first would get them, and then the folks with the M on their hat would come and build like a camp, like a prison camp,
Right.
and then they go there, and then you transfer them, right? So they go to the folks with the M, and then you guys can keep carrying on your mission, right?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Man.
So forth. And so we got that job all done,
Yeah.
you know. And they said, now what are we going to do? Well, we're going to sit here until the water's empty. And they said, what do you mean the water's empty? I said, well, where do you think the guys are coming from? You know,
Yeah.
and we'll stay right here, and we'll guard we'll make terror for any troops and come on. That's our job, is
Yeah.
to kill any Germans. Don't let them get down to the beach during the invasion.
Yeah.
That's a no-no from the general himself,
Yep.
you know. And so, anyway, that's what we did.
Probably saved a lot of lives.
Yeah, we did that for about 3 days.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Were you picking up more Germans as they were coming in too?
Oh,
then?
yeah, the Germans were coming from everywhere.
Oh wow.
So our job was to stop them,
Yeah.
and we stopped them.
Did you have to build some kind of confinement to keep them in after you got so many of them?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We'd put them in a huddle, so to speak, in a circle. They sit in a circle, you know. You can sit any way you want, but you stay in that circle. Well, we'll feed you. We'll give you something to eat, you know. And
Yeah.
that's what we did.
Dang, that's a long time.
Until the invasion was over. Then we turned them over to those guys, and they hauled them away. And like you said, they built a prison camp,
Yeah.
and the Germans were all put in that, and so forth. And some of the camps, the Germans had already built, had Americans in there.
Oh.
You know, they got captured
Yeah.
when we jumped.
Yeah.
So
So you guys would take over those camps and then
Right.
take the Americans up, free the Americans, and then
Right.
put the Germans in their own camp.
right,
Yeah, that's all. That's great.
yeah.
Man.
So that went. So I did that, you know, until everything's cooled off, and then we took Simon. I said, "Now what are we going to do now?" Well, we're going to start here, and we're going to march all the way down to what was that first town I said?
St. Mary Église.
Greece?
St. Mary Église, I thought.
No,
Belgium.
Belgium.
Oh, Belgium. Oh, gotcha.
You know,
Yeah, yeah. Man.
from there.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we just kept marching. And as the towns that said we marched, we get a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, what are we going to do if we see Germans? I said, well, what did the president say you're going to do?
Yeah.
Kill them.
Direct orders.
Do we really have to kill them? I said, what do you want to do? Go up and kiss them on the cheek or something? You know, massage. I said, you're in the army and you're in a war. W-A-R, a war.
Yeah.
I don't care how many times I have to tell you, you're in a war. Don't forget it.
Yeah.
And they said, well, how do we keep hidden? And so I said, have you ever played cops and robbers? Oh, yeah, a lot of these guys were from New York or New Jersey or someplace.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we play it all the time. I said, well, one of you hides and the other guys go looking for them. How do you do it? They said, what do you look for? Well, I don't know. I never thought of it. I said, well, you got a cap on, don't you? Yeah. Well, peek around the corner. What happens? The bill of that cap shows, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you know that there's somebody hiding behind that post or behind the corner of that building or something, or hiding on the grass, and they're peeking up to see us. And look for little fine things. Well, didn't they teach you this in basic training? You know?
Yeah.
No, they never thought of that. I said, oh my God, I can't believe it.
Of me either.
You know?
Man. Yeah.
You're fighting an enemy, you don't know where he is.
Yeah. Don't know how to find them or search.
You don't want to fight, right?
Oh.
So that's what we did. We'd go from town to town to town to town. And some of the towns got pretty big,
Oh, I bet.
you know. So it took a long time to get through some of them.
I bet. Yeah. Searching every inch of it,
Yeah.
probably.
Right.
Man.
And then you'd get rain, and it would get pretty chilly once in a while because you're all wet,
Yeah.
nowhere to dry off,
Man.
you know. You got your own clothes. You better try to keep them as dry as you can,
Oh, I bet.
you know.
Where'd you end up then? Where'd you stop then in Europe?
We stopped at Luxembourg.
Luxembourg. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
It's all the way into Germany then, right?
We got pulled out of Luxembourg to go to Holland
Oh.
for the what they called the longest day, or where they made a mistake
Oh.
from getting that bridge too far.
Oh, really?
You heard that?
I've heard of it, yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
not real familiar right now.
Yeah,
I know I've known the phrase. Like there's a movie about it too, right? Bridge Too Far.
right,
Yeah, and I'm blanking on it though.
right. We had a free jump there,
Oh yeah.
and I'll bet there were over 200 airplanes flying over with people jumping down. There was
Whoa.
the United States, so the 82nd Airborne, the 101st Airborne, and then there was Canada, and then there was Poland.
Yeah.
And all of them were going in, and guys jumping out of them and so forth. There was, a mess. But there were Germans down below, just like when we jumped. They were killing them, knocking left and right, and so on and so forth,
Yeah.
And until we got enough guys on the ground, and they Germans just disappeared like ants in a bill,
Yeah.
they just kept knocking them off and knocking them off.
Jeez.
Leave them there, so forth. So in Holland, when we went through that area, there was this great big field. And in that field was this big stack out there. And I said, and then a stack, on top of that stack, there was another stack. And I said, now, let's stop here and hide in this tall grass. I said, what do you think that big stack is right there? Oh, it's a haystack where they've got the hay for the cattle and so forth. I said, looks like a haystack, doesn't it? But you ever see a haystack with another stack on the top of it? A small stack? So they look at it, I said, now what do you think that small stack is? Well, they probably ran out of hay or something. I said, yeah, they probably did, but I can tell you how to run out more. That haystack is a turret to a tank.
Oh, really?
It's a big tank underneath. Hitler had those new tanks built,
Oh.
and they covered them with hay, so forth. I said, now, what do you think's in the front there on those things that look like just blah? What are they? Oh, God.
Oh yeah.
Hay. They were their hay.
Yeah, like a big hay bale,
Bales?
like.
Hay bales.
Yeah, yeah.
I said, what do you think those are? Oh, they're just hay bales. I said, why do you think they would just have hay bales sitting around like that?
Yeah.
I said, and that's not a broom handle sticking out at the end of that hay bale.
Yeah.
That's a lot of those guys thought it was broom handles
Yo, really?
or something, And when we go to a town and the window's broken out and there'd be a rifle barrel sticking out that window, there's a sniper up there.
Yeah.
And if the barrel isn't very long sticking out, only 4 or 5 inches, that's a machine gun.
Oh, yeah.
And just enough barrel sticking out of there, they can get you.
Yeah.
So forth. Oh, we never thought of that. I said, that's what I keep coming back to your basic training.
Yeah. Trying to raise your awareness, your situational awareness.
Never told you what was going to happen in a war.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. So they came in, the Germans came in, and they emptied all the buildings. And just like that building over there in the front, and the building over there,
Yeah.
knock the windows out of it or knock a hole in the window and so on and so forth. And upstairs and downstairs were German troops.
Oh.
And that's where they come from before they go on patrol.
Oh, yeah.
They've all occupied those buildings. They've taken the people out of those, which were Jewish people, took them to either a concentration camp or a death camp.
Oh, yeah.
So the older people went to death camps, I found out, but the younger ones, the women with children, went to a basic camp, another camp, where they held them off, held the Germans, held them.
Oh, yeah. Starved them and all the terrible things.
Yeah, but they had no
Awful.
place to live, except the Germans had taken that all over.
Yeah.
So forth. I said, we've got to empty those.
Yeah.
We've got to empty those.
Yeah.
How are we going to do that? And I said, hey, bring your rifle grenades over here. Those things are, to me, they were better than the bazooka.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could just pick them up and fire them, you know.
Aim 'em, yeah.
And a bazooka, you had to load it from the end,
Oh.
get it all loaded, make sure nobody's behind it because it backfires, you know,
Oh, yeah.
so forth. And the shell isn't as strong as the rifle grenade, which is in a kind of a ball, you know,
Yeah.
and it just fits right down the end of your barrel. And when you pull it off, why, it zigs over there just like you were throwing a grenade. And when it goes off, it goes off. It would destroy this
This whole airstream, eh?
right here.
Oh,
Oh, God,
yeah.
yeah. There wouldn't be nothing left to it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is, man, that's powerful. So you guys just launch a few of those then into the building?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys, with your rifle grenade, come over here. Okay. Upstairs, you see those windows up there? One of you pick a window. The other one, how you see those windows down here? Why are they sticking out there? Well, those are not broom handles.
Yeah.
There's snipers laying down there on their stomach or sitting on a chair or something, and they're putting those out there just waiting for you to walk up the street,
Yeah.
like those two did that we lost right off the bat. We lost two guys.
Oh, really? Because
Don't
snipers.
walk down the middle of the street. Don't walk down the middle of the street. I don't know how many times I told him.
Yeah.
But one guy ran out there because he thought he saw somebody,
Oh.
and he was going to kill him, I guess.
Oh.
But he ran out there and bang, that
Oh.
quick. He was flat on his face, deader
Dead.
than a doornail. And his buddy ran out to help him.
Yeah.
Bang.
Piled him up too.
He ended up lying on top of him, deader than a doornail.
Yeah.
I said, now you guys, don't walk down the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Creep along the sides of the buildings. Keep out of sight as much as you can.
Yeah.
And don't stick your rifle out there where it can be seen. Keep it pulled up against your body,
Yeah.
you know, because you're not going to use it until you need it.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
And so,
Give away your position if you're going to be sticking it
see
out.
anything. Yeah. I don't know how many Germans we killed in the days that we were there, but we made a pretty clean sweep of them most of the time.
Oh yeah, man. Well, you're here
Yeah.
to tell the story, and you probably saved a lot of lives in the missions you were doing too, because they're just waiting to ambush somebody, you know. Or
Especially when the troops were still coming in out of the ocean, you know.
oh no, I think my GoPro's about to die. Did it die?
Did what die?
Did that make a noise? I
Yeah,
think it might have
something
died.
made a noise.
Hold on 1 second, sorry. Oh, sorry about that, George. GoPro overheated. I forgot to turn my fan on. But man, well, thank you so much for sharing. I know you guys got to go grab some lunch, so I won't keep you any longer. But man, thanks again. Thank you for your service.
Right.
Thank you for all the fires you helped put out too, the smoke jumper. So and thank you so much for coming here.
Well, the only scratch I got is on my wrist right there.
Oh, gotcha.
And that was during bayonet training.
Oh, really?
Well, before we shipped out. The captain, I belonged to an old German gymnastic club
Oh, really?
in gymnastics. And we also did fencing and so forth. So I could use that fence and so forth, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Pretty good with the sword then.
And so the captain said, "Hey, Cross." Oh, no, now what? We're going to have some bayonet training. Okay. Well, take your knife out of that scabbard, because that's what you're going to use when you have to. I said, "Okay, sir. Come on out." He said, "I understand you're pretty good at it, because everybody said you're good at it."
Yeah.
And so forth. I said, "Well, I hold my own occasionally." I said, "I assume you being the trainer, that you're very good at it also." He said, "Yeah," he said, "I'm pretty good at it too."
Yeah.
He said, "Well, let's start. We'll start 6 feet apart, and then we'll gradually move in, so on and so forth, you know." I said, "Okay." So we were doing pretty good, you know, and that blade would hit one blade, the other blade, one blade, and spark would fly up, you know, and all of a sudden I made a jab at him. He made a jab at me. His was longer than mine.
Oh.
Caught me right there and lifted the skin right up,
Oh.
you know. and started bleeding. I said, "Hey, Captain, I think we're done for the day." He said, "Why?" I said, "I'm dead."
Yeah.
He laughed. "What do you mean you're dead?" I held up my hand. His blood was running down my arm. He said, "Oh my God, did I do that?" I said, "No, you didn't do it, but the rifle did."
Yeah. Man.
We laughed about it. He said, so I taped it all up for me,
Yeah.
So I've had that now for 50 years.
Dang.
And all it is just a scar underneath my hide.
Yeah. So in that though,
So-
no injuries then from the
No
war.
injury.
Man,
That's
George.
the only one I got.
Yeah, that's really good, man.
And I got that before I got into the battle.
Yeah.
Oh, true. Yeah, just in training. So, man, well, you were smart though. Like you went about it like from just what you told me. Went about it the right way. You know, like had a high situational awareness and preparedness, and didn't take any chances.
Yeah. Well, when you're a kid and you're playing cops and robbers, and you don't want the guy to see you, and so forth, you're hiding,
Yeah,
and you're hiding your weapon along with you,
totally.
so forth.
Yeah,
And so I try to get that over to these guys, but they're all city guys,
yeah. They're not used to running around the
So-
woods, and
They finally came through, and we didn't lose any more guys, believe it or not.
that's really
You know,
good.
So I said, "Oh, yeah, thank God for that,"
Yeah,
Because I got
absolutely.
pulled off and got sent back after the Battle of the Bulge. I got pulled out and sent back to Fort Bragg
Oh yeah, yeah.
so I could teach those guys how to load gliders. And I said, I kept saying the war is over, but they said, no, the war's not over. Finally, they told me why.
Oh yeah.
We're getting ready to, once the war is over, we're going to Japan,
Yeah.
So Europe is over,
Yep.
but it's not over in Japan.
Yep.
Well, thank God for Truman,
Yeah.
because he dropped the bombs, and so that took care of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything's a lot
And
quicker
so I
than
said,
that would've.
hey, that takes care of me too. I'm out of here. I'm going to college.
Yeah, and that's what you did.
That's what I did.
Oh yeah, got your education, physical education, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then smoke jumping. Awesome, George. And then
Yeah.
get to be on.
I went to Indiana University.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
Man, was it pretty big back then too?
Well, the Normal College American Gymnastic Union is owned by Indiana University.
Oh, I didn't know.
And that's a German organization. It was German.
I did not know that either.
Founded in 1850.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And so you learn all the new stuff there because the teachers are all new and
Oh, yeah.
forth, And it was no longer German after the war.
Yeah.
It was American, owned by a by the college.
Oh yeah, by the university there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
university.
Well, that's probably why you're in such great shape still, is all the gymnastics and stuff. I mean, that's
It was 2-year school.
man. All right.
Yeah, you go there 2 years,
Yeah.
and then the rest of the time is spent down in Bloomington.
Oh. Bloomington,
Finish
Indiana.
up 4 years. You got to
Oh.
go 4 years of college.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So two years in the classroom, then 2 more years out, helping like learn and teach, and
Right.
oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Most of it up at the Normal College, as we call it, the old German Normal College, was a book. And you learn a little bit of German and so on and so forth. But your anatomy and all those subjects came from up there from the doctors who were out at the hospital.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you went out there for your anatomy and kinesiology and all those tough subjects were
Yeah.
taught by doctors.
Oh, awesome. You're getting the best teachers you
yeah.
can find.
Right,
Yeah.
so forth.
Awesome, George.
And so that's where I got my education.
Yeah.
From that. And once I got my education from there, I was in the gymnastic team in Indiana.
Oh, yeah.
And so the coach came to me one day and he said, "Hey, Cross." "Yes, sir." "I got to talk to you." "Yes, sir." I thought, well, I'm not doing something right.
Yeah, in
give me
trouble.
hell.
Yeah.
But he wasn't that kind. He'd also gone to that college.
Oh.
He and the guy that hired me out of Montana were both at that college when it was founded. It was
Oh.
founded in 1850.
Oh, wow. So they've been around for a minute.
So they went to school there,
Yeah.
so forth. So I had fresh training from those, you know.
Man. Very cool.
And so the guy that was hiring me came from Montana, and we went up, we sat and had a talk like we do with you and so forth, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said, hey, would you like a job? I said, yes, sir, I would love a job.
Yeah.
He said, you're hired. I said, I'm hired? Yeah, you're hired. You're going to come out to University of Montana. He said, you'll have to come by train or bus, he said, but I'll get you a building when you come out there, and so you'll have a place to stay and so forth, and you'll start teaching physical education.
Oh, yeah.
I said, oh, great.
Perfect.
You know, he said, we're getting rid of the wrestler. He doesn't want to teach wrestling anymore.
Oh.
And so we're going to hit the gymnastics pretty heavy.
Yeah.
I said, hey, great.
That's awesome.
So that's what I did, you know. I was a gymnastic coach plus doing a gymnastics myself.
Yeah.
You know, I was getting paid for both.
Oh, that is awesome. So you're competing
Yeah.
and coaching.
Right.
Man, very cool. And especially on the ground floor at University of Montana. You
Yeah.
know, the program coming in. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Man, George, you've lived a hell of a life, my friend. Man, that is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, shoot, I won't keep you, but Carla, thank you so much for joining us,
Oh,
too.
yeah.
I appreciate you. Thank you, George.
welcome.
You're welcome.
And thank you all
It's
for
a
listening
pleasure.
and tuning in. Yeah, pleasure's all
Your
mine.
phone
Thank
is
you.
on.
Oh, yeah, I guess I better take